What's up, carbon steel lovers? It's Steve from Made In. We're back in the cockpit. I like to think that you came back because you like my sweater vest. It's probably not true. Probably got a new carbon steel frying pan that you're trying to take care of, or maybe you have an old one. You watched the old video. I talked about how to do this on a gas range. You're gonna want to get that good seasoning, but you don't have a gas range. Maybe you have an induction or electric stovetop. It's okay. We're gonna do this in the oven. Get that same nice finish. That's gonna take care of this thing for years to come. Here's what you'll need: carbon steel pan, soap, sponge, paper towels, and a high smoke point oil. Although a carbon steel pan looks smooth, it really has a lot of valleys. And essentially what we're doing is making sure that we fill the valleys with just enough oil and baking it on there so it goes through that polymerization process, and now you have a very slick, even coating. The first thing, we gotta clean this, and that's important for two reasons. Number one being, the manufacturer makes sure to send this highly reactive metal with an oil coating already on it. Usually it's a vegetable oil. It's okay to eat off of it, but personally, I don't know whose hand's been on this, so I just want to get that off. The second reason it's important to clean all of the oil off of here is because you're going to be putting your own oil on this, and it already has that vegetable oil. You don't want two oils mixing here. The most important layer is that first layer. Let's go ahead, get some soap, get some water on this thing, put a little bit of elbow grease into it. I'm not going to be shy with this soap and water. This is the first time and really only time that we're putting this much, if any, soap on it at all. Let this water get a little bit more warm, and I am just scrubbing here. So you'll notice that I'm doing both sides of the pan here. It is very important, especially for the first couple of coats. This is the first and only clean I'm gonna do. I like to spend a good amount of time, even sometimes up to 10 minutes. That's a little bit excessive, but again, the better we clean this thing and the more oil we get off of it, the better the seasoning is gonna be. And I know that this is gonna be the seasoning that gets me started going forward. I've been cleaning this for a few minutes here. It's gonna be important to do a spot check. What I like to do is take a paper towel and just give it a good wipe. Now, if there's any oil still on this paper towel, that means that it's not ready to go. And I mean, if you look at this, it looks like it's ready to go, but really there's still an oil that's on there. So I'll spend a few more minutes at this. All right, so I'm gonna wash this thing off one more time. Just give it a good rinse, get all the soap off, and do another test here to see how we're looking. So we're in a really, really good spot, and that step is totally complete. Time to dry it. You can even look at the pan, it looks a little bit different. That oil that was baked on here is completely off because we spent a good amount of time cleaning, maybe even a little bit too much, but that's just how I am, right? It looks dry right now, but there's really going to be water on the pan still. It's important to get every single bit off because, like we talked about earlier, carbon steel is highly reactive, and we don't want anything that can rust or sit underneath this oil and affect the seasoning. So what I'm gonna do is actually put this on the flame here. Just a low to medium heat. We just really want to make sure that we evaporate anything that's sitting. You'll see me using a gas range here, and gas, electric, induction, what have you, it does not matter. What we want to do is make sure this piece gets hot. We want to make sure the whole pan here is warm enough to evaporate any water, and that's why I got it on medium-low heat just for a few minutes here. We will get to the oven in a second and show you how to season it in the oven, but this is the only time you'll need a stovetop. This thing is bone dry. Now it's time to talk about oil as we go to the next step. What's important when it comes to picking an oil to do your seasoning with? First things first, you gotta make sure that it's a high smoke point oil. You don't want anything low smoke point like an olive oil, for instance. Reason why is because one, it won't season the way you want, and then also everybody in your house will hate you when you smoke it up. Next, we wanna make sure that the oil itself is something that doesn't have a flavor and is flavor neutral. So nothing like a coconut oil, right? My favorite oil is grapeseed oil. It's affordable, very, very easy to find, and it's really in that smoke point, like sweet spot between 425 and like 450. Now, if you have a question about what the smoke point of your oil is, you can always just look on the front and the manufacturer will have it very, very clear for you to see. So for today's demonstration, we will be using grapeseed oil. You're gonna need a paper towel, all right? And so We let the pan cool down itself, but it's still a little bit warm, which is perfect. So the pores are really opened up and it's ready for this oil. Now, here's the trick. Just a little bit of oil is really all you need. We're gonna wanna coat not just the inside of the pan, but also the outside. Just a little bit of oil is all we need. And that's gonna really treat my whole pan right there. We don't want any of this to rust. Now, the oven's been preheating. How did I pick my number, right? So we talked about the smoke point of this grapeseed oil being somewhere between 425 and 450. What I did was preheat my oven to 470. The reason why is because right around that smoke point is where the magic happens when it comes to polymerization, right? So because I can't trust my oven, I don't know what temperature it really is, I'm gonna go a little bit above what it says it is. This pan's gonna be sitting in the oven at that 470 degrees. After an hour, I'm gonna actually cut the oven off and let this thing come to a complete cool, and then we'll check out the seasoning. One of the enemies of a good seasoning is having way too much oil on there, okay? And so what will typically happen is, if I had too much oil in this pan and I season it, I'm gonna start getting all these little bumps, and that's gonna throw off your seasoning a little bit. You can still cook with it, but you're not gonna get the surface that you're looking for. One more wipe here, getting off excess oil. Let's put this thing in the oven. For the next hour, I'm gonna go look at sales on sweater vests, and I'll catch you on the flip. Oh, hello. That's another pro tip. After a couple of minutes, just a couple of minutes, go ahead and give it another wipe. Be careful though. The reason we wanna do this is to make sure there's nothing excess on there. All right, so it's been an hour. I found all of the sweater vests I was looking for. It's been sitting at 470 after an hour. We cut it off, let it cool down. So let's see what we got back here. Yep. This is exactly what we were going for here. So, I mean, this is one coat and it is ready to cook with. You can put anything on this and get that good sear that you're looking for, right? This is protected against any moisture that you have to worry about. So I could take this and put it in the cupboard and not have to worry about it. What you'll also notice is that the rivets have changed and turned a different color. Before they were silver, a little bit more like the handle. If you really don't like the way that this looks, or your handle will start to get oil over time, if you look in a professional kitchen, you'll notice the same thing. What you can do if you want to get it nice and shiny, put a little vinegar on it. It's going to take it right away and then wipe it off. This is what we're going for. You'll notice that there's also a little bit of, different kind of colors here, which is okay. What it is a base layer. You can see a little bit of it because we went with a lighter coat. Because if we went with a heavier coat and we got too much oil on it, you'll see spotting, and that's exactly what we do not want. We'd have to strip it all and do it again. There's two things I can do to get a better and another coat of seasoning on this, right? I can either start cooking with this, something very fatty, I like bacon, or what I'm gonna do right now is actually follow the same steps with oiling it just a little bit and then put it in the oven. Same rules, just a little bit of oil here, right? And even that's too much. You'll see me take some out here, but it's okay. And so I'm gonna go ahead and coat this whole thing. Bottom as well. Want to make sure to coat everything. Look at this. Beautiful, nice and shiny. That's exactly what we're looking for, so let's go ahead and put it in the oven. Second round of seasoning is done. This thing's cooled off. Let's go check it out. This is exactly what we were going for. It has another coat. You still see a little bit of coloration, and that's totally normal. Different colors are gonna happen to your pan over time. If you want it really, really dark, it's more layers, more cooking with it, just more experience, and that comes. But I'm a perfectionist, so I'm gonna go ahead and do this one more time before I put it in the cupboard. And you already know what time it is. A little bit of oil. Get the rubbing. And so with the backside, that's a little bit more dry. I'm gonna take off any excess here. She's ready to go. Let's put it in the oven. Our third round of seasoning is done. Waited a good time to let it cool down. Let's check it out. Third time's a charm. We got exactly what we wanted with this pan. Has a great coat on it. now. If you are even more of a perfectionist, I would say cook something fatty like we talked about, bacon. It'll get you another coating. Don't be afraid, it will change colors over time. That's just the way the pan reacts to different oils and different heats. But if you're not happy with the seasoning, feel free to go right back to square one. Use a little bit of soap and some water and start scrubbing, get that seasoning off, strip it, get back to the bare metal, and then start it again. That's totally it. I taught you how to season in the oven. We got that other method that we already made a video for. Feel free to check that one out too. Once again, I'm Steve from Made In, the guy with the sweater vest. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you in another video.